Hello, my name is Lee Presser. This is my show. I speak frequently to very interesting people. Some of these conversations are so exciting, so intellectually stimulating, I thought others might like to listen in. This is the reason we started recording Conversation with Lee Presser.
Welcome to Conversation with Lee Presser. The Rockwood School District in St. Louis County's largest public school system. Over 22,000 students attend 19 elementary schools, 6 middle schools, and 4 high schools. The district is spread over 150 square miles. In recent years, the district has had some financial management problems. Those infractions resulted in the district earning a grade of fair from an audit conducted by the Missouri State Auditor's Office. The audit, which was made public in March 2013, covered the district's financial statements through the middle of 2012. The loss of public confidence resulting from that audit has become an issue in the April 8, 2014 school board election. Our guest today, Eileen Tyrrell, is running for the seat on the Rockwood School Board. Ms. Tyrrell has been very active in Rockwood since 2008. When she became part of a focus group for a strategic planning process. She's maintained her focus on Rockwood since then and looks forward to working with the other members of the board. She and her husband have a son who have already graduated and a daughter who is a sophomore at Eureka High School. Eileen Tyrrell, welcome to Conversation.
Welcome. Thank you, Lee. Nice to be here.
Glad to have you with us today. So it's a pretty big deal when you want to get into the management of a huge district that has, I forget what the budget for the district was, like was it 150 million or something?
Oh no, about 250 million. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and salary and benefits is 85% of that budget.
Right. Well, but as what most people don't seem to understand is that the school board's main function is to manage the money, not the classroom.
Yes, that is true. The school board's main function is to hire and supervise the superintendent, set his goals and his direction that they want to happen in the school district for any given year, or a short-term plan, a long-term plan. But yes, one of the most critical keys is to approve the budget. Do they work through? Do they go line by line? No. That is what the CFO and the finance department are for, and all the other administrators and directors that put those components of the budget together. But yes, the board gives the final approval.
So what makes you think you're qualified to do a job like that?
Well, I am a mother, first and foremost, and I am mother of 2 children that have been educated in 4 different school districts in 4 different states since 1998 when our oldest started. My husband's job brought us to all these different locations, and 2 of them were rural and 2 of them were suburban. So first and foremost, the experience in and outside of Missouri brings me qualified. My common sense approach to solutions is another reason why I feel I'm qualified. We've had a board with lawyers and CPAs and PhDs and master's degree in business, and look where it has gotten us in the last several years.
Where has it gotten us in the last several years?
We have lost the confidence of our community.
How so?
Well,
now, I mean, I introduced a little bit at the beginning,
yes.
But I would like you to be specific so that people who perhaps haven't followed the news might be informed by what you're thinking.
Rockwood is a school district that is high performing, does have high achieving students. We are a large school district in Missouri. And that is the message that comes out of the classroom. That is the message that comes out of the test scores, and that is the message that comes out of the communications department at Rockwood. And I will talk about the fact that we are pretty much put on a high pedestal, not just in our own metro area, St. Louis, but the whole entire state.
So you're saying, what I hear you saying is that the students do pretty well.
Yes.
So what is or was the problem that these financial issues?
How it all started was after being engaged for several years, my co-founder for the Citizens Coalition realized that there was a serious disconnect between the board and what was going on in the classroom. So decisions were being made at the board level, presented by administrators who didn't spend a lot of time in the classroom. And then we'd listen and we'd follow, and then we'd get the reality of the classroom, what our children were getting, and there was a huge disconnect. So what we started to do was we started to say, okay, we're going to be the eyes and ears of those 7 volunteers that are elected, that don't get paid, that have full-time jobs and families themselves. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be the eyes and ears, and we're going to tell them what the reality is, because obviously they are not getting the same results presented to them as we see on our child's report cards or results in the classroom.
How did they react when you presented this information?
Well, at the beginning, in fact, the very first meeting I had as the spokesperson was with the communications director, Kim Cranston, at Rockwood. And there was the very first meeting we had. We presented it to her. We said, here we are a citizens group. We've organized. This is our mission and our vision. We have 5 key purposes. How do we become a part of this decision-making process at Rockwood? And that's when the stonewalling began.
What was the reaction?
It was more of, well, aren't we already doing that? And we gave them examples of how you met with the union twice a month. The superintendent meets with the parent-teacher organizations once a month. But in either of those meetings, no one was really talking about or getting true feedback of the academics or what their view was on programs. And I'm not talking about a survey. I'm talking about one-on-one, real-life conversations with your constituents. And that wasn't going on. The district also was facing financial problems. Everyone in St. Louis knew that in about 2007, 2008, we were feeling the loss of jobs, and the economy was not what we had hoped it to be. Rockwood was a little bit behind times in not projecting that loss of financial income with the the loss of home values, property taxes, etc. So what we sought to do was, we'll come up with solutions, Rockwood stakeholders for solutions. So we researched, and our team researched, and a couple of other parents joined us, and we ran right into the financial problems. We started to see things that didn't appear right, and we started to ask a lot of questions. And that wasn't received very well. And that's really what resulted in the state audit coming in. Our group going to Tom Schweit, Missouri State Auditor, 6 months after we first established our coalition, and requested that he audit Rockwood in 2012.
Can you give me an example of 1 or 2 or 3 of these things that weren't quite right?
Well, the first thing is we started hearing, who's Glenn Construction? And so we found the Glenn Construction contract on the website, and basically Glenn Construction was being hired as a contract employee, his group was, and they were managing all the construction.
How much construction are we talking about? I mean, is
Millions.
Rockwood was in a construction phase?
Rockwood was in a construction phase from, I would say, till the late 90s all the way through 2010. We were growing. But in about 2006, what we were doing is we were kind of changing what the bonds were being spent on. But to get back to the construction, the employee of Glenn Construction was just elected in the spring of 2011. And his name is Steve Smith.
So one of the employees of the construction company was elected to the school board?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. And when you get elected to a school board, you have to file first. So you have to file, you have to meet a criteria, you have to fill out a disclosure form, and you can be dismissed for a policy for the school. Say you're an employee of the district. An employee of the district cannot run for school board. They would have to resign their position. So while state law has minimal qualifications to be a school board director, sometimes school district policy prevents you from running, and one would be is if you were an employee. So when we saw the Glenn Construction contract, we read it, free office space, free supplies, free postage, free phones, free everything. And then we paid them 7% of all the cost of the construction.
So it was a cost plus contract.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So so you felt that they were being overpaid for the construction work that they were doing? Was that the problem?
At the point where our group found the contract, we reached out to our school district and said, what is this? Can't we save money here? Can't we do it in-house? We were looking for cost-saving solutions to keep the teachers and the students and the classrooms operating and giving them the resources they needed to teach the children and for the children to learn. So we ran into it, and the reaction we received from the district, all it did was raise our curiosity, and we dug more. Well, and so did the media. So we were just a group of parents that wanted to be a part of the solution, but the media was already on Rockwood. So it wasn't as though, we recreated anything that didn't exist.
So if I hear you correctly, you had a construction company that was being used on a regular basis, and that company managed to get somebody on the Board of Education as well.
Yes, I believe they even donated to his campaign or a bond issue or a political action committee supporting him. I can't say for sure. But this construction company also kept winning the bid every 2 years to be program manager. In fact, it turned out to be literally a no bid contract. So they would just be renewed. The contract would be renewed every 2 years. At one point, when the Post-Dispatch did their own expose, they found that Rockwood admitted to even shredding the bids. So we also found the discrepancy in overpayments, where it appeared that we kept finding more work for Glenn Construction to oversee and manage, and we were paying them more than the contract called for.
Okay, so was there, besides this construction company issue, were there other issues that were of concern to you as well?
Yes, the controls. The lack of financial controls. Now, some would say that's no big deal. You find them in companies all over the place. But when we found them, we were looking at, wow, this is Rockwood. This is supposed to be this great district, and our own school district is not even having their own financial controls.
Where was the CFO? That's the CFO's area, correct?
Yes.
The Chief Financial Officer, for those who don't know what that means.
At the time, we did ask a lot of questions, and they just raised more questions. So where was the CFO? Well, that's the way Rockwood has always done it. That was the famous last words. Of course, she's not there anymore, but it would always be, that's the way Rockwood has always done it. So even when one of our employees in 2010, a teacher, was caught using the district credit card for personal use, we still didn't put controls on the credit cards. So what we were looking for is, we were looking for solutions again for the classroom to support our teachers, because we are in the business of educating. And so what happened to our S4S is we became the advocate for the people's money, because Rockwood obviously did not think that they were doing anything wrong. For the 18 months between when it first came out in the Post-Dispatch and then when Auditor Schweit gave his press conference just a year ago. It's only been really a year that the truth came out in our community. Yet we've been talking about it for nearly 3 years because it was very difficult to get our district to admit there was really any wrongdoing.
Would you say that and there's a huge number of I think it's like 53,000 households in Rockwood School District. Of these 53,000 households, would you say that a large number now understand the issues that concern you, or is that still a mystery to many of them?
There's 80,000 households, excuse me, no, you're correct. 53,000, you're correct, excuse me. Yes, I do think it's a mystery. People are working hard to pay their taxes, to provide a home for their family, to help their kids with homework, to keep up with new curriculums that are coming, earning a living. And yes, I still think a lot of this is a mystery. There's a misunderstanding about the negativity that's been out in the media. There are some in Rockwood that believe if we just get rid of the negative headlines, then the district will trust us again and they'll support a tax increase or another bond. Whereas,
You're talking about the administration?
no, actual citizens believe that.
Okay.
Because there's a misunderstanding of exactly what went on.
Well, you're talking about a $250 million a year business that sounds like it's being run as some sort of a friends organization.
In some ways, yes, but
Instead of as a business.
let's move forward. Once that audit came through, even before the audit started, in fact, 2 days before the auditors came into the district to do their audit, we got a new CFO. And he has brought that confidence, that much needed confidence that we needed as taxpayers, even to our
So you're
organization.
satisfied with this new
yes,
CFO?
Yes.
And you lost, or I should say resigned, was the superintendent from that era as
Yes,
well.
yes.
What was his name?
Dr. Bruce Borchers.
Okay.
Yes,
So
and-
Dr. Borchers left.
Yes.
There's an interim superintendent at this time whose name
Is Dr. Terry Adams. He's from
Adams.
Wentzville.
Right. But that's a temporary.
Yes.
And they're in the process now of searching for a new superintendent.
Yes.
Will this happen before this election, or is it going to happen after this April election?
They are currently doing the search now and doing interviews. They are down to their final 3 candidates. And Lee, they vote on them before the election.
I see. So just so the people know, here we are, this is March 11th when we're having this conversation, which is less than a month to the election. But you're saying they're going to pick from one of these 3.
Yes, they'll make the announcement March 27th, so less than 10 days before the election.
And are you satisfied with the 3 from which they're going to be choosing?
That is confidential at this time, so no one knows who they are. No one knows who they are. I have been fortunate to have the opportunity, thank you to the recommendation of the search firm, that the candidates who are running for school board be a part of the interview committees. There's 3 separate interviews committee giving their notes to the board to help them make the decision. So I am very fortunate to be on there, but of course the process is very confidential.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm not going to ask anything further. But you know of these people? You know of their qualifications then because you've heard from your position?
No one is heard.
I
It
see.
is being run by a search firm, and it's being very well run, and mainly it's to protect the candidates so that from their current jobs.
They're working.
Yes,
They're working
exactly.
now, and
Exactly.
they don't want their home districts knowing like, hey, we're looking.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
Exactly.
So, all right, here in the last 9-10 minutes of this discussion, I want you to tell people, or tell me, why you think that this is for you. I mean, this sounds like you're stepping into a hornet's nest here. Why is this for you, and why do you think that the public ought to look to you for leadership in the Rockwood School District?
I believe that I'm going to bring true citizen representation to the school board. And the whole process of working as a volunteer to preserve Rockwood, I recognize that there is a disconnect, that the board members are seen as mere ambassadors rather than an elected governing body of the school district.
You mean they're being led by the superintendent's office
Exactly.
instead of leading the superintendent's
Exactly.
office?
That is what I see. And because of the experiences that I've had personally and professionally with working with local, state, and federal representatives, there's that dialogue that goes on. We're missing that in a school board representative. Also, the reason why I'm running is after 3 years of trying to work with the Rockwood School District and get them to understand how they approach the community as a whole to regain their trust, then I just decided, you know what, I'm going to run for re-election and show them and help them to do that. I am that community. I have spent 3 years talking to the citizens of Rockwood and the parents and teachers, and that experience that I have leads me to be that leader that they need on the school board.
A moment ago you said re-election, you mean election.
Election,
don't you?
thank
Yes.
you.
You're not on the board
No,
at this time.
no,
Are
no.
you in any way part of the school, other than as a volunteer in your parents' organization? You're
No.
not an employee or
No.
in any other way involved?
No.
You just want to do what's right for the district?
Yes, I have looked at the last 4 comprehensive financial statements. I may not have a financial background.
What is a comprehensive financial
Oh,
statement?
I'm sorry, Lee. It is a complete report, and it's on the Rockwood School District. It gives you everything from their finances to the statistics to where they rate in student achievement to the number of employees that they have, the ratio of teacher to administrator and teacher to student. It is a wealth of information, and I would encourage people to read it themselves.
But despite the issues that the negative issues you were talking about, do you feel that the students that are graduating from the Rockwood School District are getting a balanced, well-rounded education?
I think for the most part.
Okay.
My growing concern is that Common Core is coming in, or is here, it's here, and it's really affecting that K through 2, K through 3 primary grade.
Well, you
But
might have to explain to people what the term Common Core means.
Common Core is a new set of standards that was brought in by Governor Nixon, and he gave direction to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to implement them in their schools. They have not been approved by our state legislature, therefore we have no funding mandate. So that is a big issue. Also a big issue that's going on in Rockwood is our achievement gap is growing. It's not narrowing, it's growing.
Achievement gap, what's the gap between?
That means the gap from the highest performer to the lowest performer in math is 60%. In communications arts, it's 50. When you put aside all the past and what we've had to bring out, the reason why I'm running for the school board is to represent the teachers and students and the parents so that we're doing the best learning possible and they have all the resources they need for their classroom. For those small business owners and large property owners and just the retirees and the taxpayers, empty nesters, what am I going to bring? I'm going to bring their voice to the board and remind them that we have to be responsible with their money. They're staying in Rockwood, they're committed to Rockwood, they want to support public education. However, they don't trust Rockwood. So there are 2 things that I can bring. I can bring the voice of the people that I have been working with for the last 3 years. And it isn't just my team, it is the constant being available, listening to those people, and being their representative on the outside. Now I'm asking for their vote to bring me to the other side so I can serve them as a board director. I am very passionate about our teachers and students, and I want that classroom to have all the resources necessary. We need to improve the classroom, narrow that achievement gap, and stop growing administration and start growing the students in those classrooms. We need to give those teachers what they need. Some will say that that the focus hasn't been on the classroom these last several years because all this negative headlines in the news, and so the classroom's being lost. I disagree with that. If you look on the Rockwood website and the Facebook page, we'll see all kinds of things that are achieving. In fact, I applaud the teachers and staff of the Rockwood School District for coming to work every day, for continuing to teach our kids, despite everything that they are hearing. And I say to people that we've embarrassed the teachers and staff of our school district community, and we've shamed the community that is Rockwood, the people that come and buy homes in Rockwood, the people that have businesses in Rockwood. So I want to move the district forward into the future with the other board members that are not a part of the old regime. That's what I want to do.
Now, here in the last 3 minutes, you say you want to do that. Do you have a specific plan, or is there any plan to narrow this gap in math and other areas where what you were just talking about a minute ago with high achievers versus the lowest achievers?
There is a plan, and they've talked about it for the last few years. And that plan comes from our teachers. They know what to do and they know how to teach. We have to stop telling them how to teach in their own classrooms. That's what we're doing. You know where the plan is? I'm not a teacher, but I know the Rockwood teachers. And they need to be allowed to teach their students and not be told from a board or from an administrator's cabinet how to do that. They need to be given a clear, focused plan with all the resources necessary. That's simple what they need. What we need on our board is a common sense approach to decision making, and we don't have that common sense approach. It doesn't take a PhD to understand that you have to serve a community of all taxpayers, not just the staff. It takes common sense. And some might say, well, Eileen Tyrrell's had no formal college education. Well, I'm 52 years old, and I am a mother of 2. And one of them, too, is a U.S. Marine. And I have a very bright, smart, intelligent sophomore in high school who can stand up for herself. I think I've done a pretty good job as a mom. And common sense doesn't need credentials, Lee. We have all the credentials that could fill thousands and thousands of pages on past school board members. And look where it's gotten us.
Yeah, it's gotten you a bunch of really bad headlines, and from what you were saying, something weird about hiring a company and that is on a no bid, and then having one of its employees on the Board of Education deciding. We've run clear out of time. I thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today and share my mission and vision and the purpose to serve my Rockwood community.
Thank you very much. I think you've made your case very clear. Thanks again.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with Eileen Tyrrell. She is a candidate for the school board in Rockwood School District. The election is April the 8th, 2014. Thank you very much.